All right, welcome to the book club. I'm Dylan with the man that makes us stronger together. Keith, what's up, buddy?
And I am here with D-Man, or his other two worlds known as Dylan, or Big Dilly Style 42069. So the three alter egos he's got.
I want to know the world where that one exists.
We all know that's your IM name, kid. Come on. Let's stop joking around.
It was Dill-O-17, and I was, because 17 is the day I was born, and did not understand the connection between dildos and what those were.
Oh.
So, yeah. I was like 12, so then, and it stays that way forever. So then you're in high school and people are like...
People don't forget.
Yeah, people are like, dildo. I'm like, no, it's Dill-O. Dill-O. Either way, here at the Buddy Book Club, we're breaking down some bestsellers, and this week we'll be discussing the recently released second part of the Hierarchy series, The Strength of the Few by James Islington. I've heard it all so many ways, but it's his own fault for doing all these characters like that too. So I'm going to go with Islington. So yeah, this is part of the Hierarchy series. Our last book was Will of the Many. We were going to do a little detour, but said, screw it, let's just go with it. But if you'd like to recommend some books for us to read or reach out to us on past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com. Slide into our DMs on X, Instagram, that's Buddy Book Club Podcast. Listen to us iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts. Please download. 5-star reviews would be great. Leave us a note, all that stuff. Please and thanks. So yeah, like I said, we're going to do listener suggested book, which we're still doing. But Keith was already almost done with this book. It's a 30-hour book. We had just read Will of the Many. There were so many questions. The whole thing was a question mark. And I also had run out of my time on Spotify to listen to other books, including our next book. So I just started listening to this again, and I was like, you know what? I think we need to discuss it. So 4.39 on Goodreads. I don't remember what actually, I think I have it here.
I think it was 5.59 or 4.59.
4.59, yeah. So this one's a touch less, but it came out in November, so I feel like people are still getting into it. Seemed like there was a lot of love for the series in general, or people that are interested in the series on like Reddit and Goodreads and whatnot. I was surprised at how many like subreddit banters there were going on, not only about the story itself, but about potential theories, which we may or may get into. Let's get into some stock up, stock down. Keith, stock up for The Strength of the Few. What do you got?
Going with the flow, stock up. Yeah, I'm someone that tries to go with the flow more, and I know just this is one of my things is I'm kind of a stubborn, plain, spineless baby who knows what he likes. So, I kind of know I need to get out of my comfort zone, and that's kind of my thing, but this is just on a completely different level. I mean, the dude loses an arm, and let me tell you something. If I lost an arm, I'm Debbie Downer or Keithy crestfallen for 5 to 10 years. I lose an arm and then also get transported to a new world where I don't speak the language. I don't know the rules of physics or the society or anything. Like, everything's completely different to me. No one's explaining it to me, especially in the second world, I'll call it. That's like the world where he goes back to school.
Oh, wait. No, lose Lyceum.
Yeah. I'm swan diving off that cliff if this happens to me. Like, what are we doing here? This just kind of is like, oh, I'm in a different area. No one speaks my language. No, not one person has heard of where I come from. That's kind of whatever. I'll just kind of figure it out. I'll just learn the language. Oh, there's pterodactyls up there trying to murder people from the sky. Yeah, I guess that's just part of that's a new thing, I guess. I'm like, wait, what? He kind of fulfills the get busy living or get busy dying kind of thing. He's just like, yeah, whatever, just fucking go with the flow. So I thought that was pretty impressive. And then just sidebar, he goes through like the acid thing. Does he have goggles when he's doing that?
Oh, his Dante's Peak situation?
I was thinking about his eyes the whole time. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, so stock up for going with the flow. I've tried to do it more like this, I guess.
Yeah, the whole acid thing was quite interesting. Yeah, go with the flow for sure. I'm not that person anymore. When I was in my early 20s, we did like a Euro trip and we stayed in hostels and whatnot. And some of these hostels, there's like 8 people in a room. I couldn't even imagine. I sleep with the wife next to me and the dog on its bed, and I have earplugs in. That's the world I live in now. And I was sleeping in a room with 10 other people from all sorts of different countries. No way. for 19 days. Like, what are we talking about? Yeah, the acid thing I thought was kind of funny. I feel like throughout our conversation, we're just going to bring up random topics because this book is 30 hours long. I don't even know how many pages it is, but so much happens. But the acid thing, it reminded me of Dante's Peak. I don't know if you have seen it, but the lake turns to acid because of the volcano, and then they're stuck in the middle of the lake, and the grandmother takes it upon herself to jump out of the boat and push them to shore as the acid's burning her body to pieces. Jesus. But yeah, it was pretty much what Vis was doing. Unfortunately, the grandmother didn't have a scarab to cut under her. Like, that's what he does. He basically, because the strap was wearing off, he slices his skin and then shoves the scarab underneath his skin so he'll be kept alive. Which then reminded me of the Mummy when the scarabs go under the person's skin. So that freaked me out. But yeah, it was a wild move by Vis to just go into a poison lake or poison river, whatever the case is, but good for him. My first stock up, Kick-Ass sequels stock up. Okay. Terminator 2 Judgment Day comes to mind. Mm-hmm. Empire, of course. The Dark Knight. Back to the Future 2. I personally like it more. Godfather 2, of course. Naturally, which we here watch Godfather 1, and then the wife fell asleep during Godfather 2, and we've never finished it, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know if you have any other sequels that you love, but I want to say this one, for me, loved it. Big fan. Big fan. Not like, oh my God, gushing, you need to read this level, but I thought this was much better than The Will of the Many, mostly for scope purposes. Finally, we understand that there's other worlds out there, Obitium and Lyceum, and Res, obviously, but it gets us out of Res. It gets us out of the school thing, which really didn't work for me in the first one. I just wanted to see what was going on, and we learn more about Will, its abilities, although it does get a little muddied as to, like, what Will does what where. But I just thought the story was more enjoyable. I think it being 3 different stories and having Viz be different in each of them to some degree, but also the same. And I liked the Lyceum stuff. I feel like on the internet, a lot of people wanted more Res and didn't love the Obitium and Lyceum stuff. But I did. I like the Lyceum stuff a lot. It just hit my fantasy interests there. And Obitium I thought was an interesting story and like an interesting dystopian or even like post-apocalyptic world that he had created. And then all the stuff that happened on Res was cool too. So I felt like we were actually going somewhere, and maybe it's because we already had the backbone of the knowledge of what we had learned from The Will of the Many that allowed me to enjoy The Strength of the Few more. But yeah, I'm glad we went this route because I likely probably wouldn't have gone back to the series after Will of the Many, but now
okay.
I'm excited for the next one.
Oh, wow! I think we're complete opposite ends of the spectrum again.
Cool, I like that.
Yeah. We're usually not like that. We're usually kind of aligned. Yeah. I'll just burn my stock down because I think it's specific to this. I thought it was more like the Matrix sequels, where I still like all these people that are in it. And I know we compared it to like Lost and Tenet for the first one, but I know some people love the Matrix sequels. I remember being like in the theaters watching, be like, wait, what's happening? I don't know. What's going on here?
The Architect? Who?
I'm lucky I looked this up, but I didn't know the names of the worlds were Res, Lyceum, and Obitium. I didn't even know that shit. I was like, I'm so over my head on all this stuff. Like Res, I was just trying to get a grasp of what's going on in Res. I'm like, why are they fighting? And he's like Batman now in Res? I'm like, it's just like so over my head. And then we have 2 other planets to deal with. I will say I do love the originality and the idea of like, splitting in 3. I thought that was really, really creative, super good. But for me, I was swimming in acid. I was trying with my no goggles. I was trying to fucking figure out how to see in there. And I couldn't do it. So yeah, I think we're just on the opposite sides. If book 3 comes out, I'm like, I can't even fucking get a grasp book 2. I don't know what I'm going to do in book 3. I will say, and I'll burn one of my hates here too, but if book 3 that he goes into the chamber again and he splits it into 9 people and it's 9 stories, I'm back in. I'm 100% back in. Then I'm in. If it becomes the actual
if it's the Spider-Verse,
yeah, it just starts breaking away. No, because of the actual hierarchy, keep on splitting down. I mean, listen, I'm in for that.
Yeah, what if he just creates his own like will pyramids in each, and he's like the head of each will pyramid, and then he combines those into the ultimate will pyramid. It was a good way. Well, I guess I'll get to my next stock up. So my next talk up is play to your strengths, people. Play to your strengths. Very important. Thinking about the Patriots and the Super Bowl, it's like, hey, how are they going to game plan this thing? You know, play to their strengths. Stop the run. Use Gonzalez to try to lock down JSN and make Sam Darnold beat you. That's what you got to do, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that's what Islington does here with these characters. We noted in Will of the Many that there was a real lack of character building. You know, the supporting cast was pretty meh. We had Calidus, I think that's his name, and our buddy, our buddy Aiden. We had like kind of those two, and then Aqua and the other one that was supposedly the love interest, whatever. But they didn't really build them out. You know, we said that. So, you know, what does he do here? He says, okay, I had a good character in Viz, and I was able to write him pretty well. So let's just make 2 more of them, you know?
Just multiply.
Yeah.
Well, makes a lot of
we
sense
got
to me.
Viz. He's like, okay, well, let's create another one. We'll call him like Sia Moon, and then we'll go like Daglon or Deglin, whatever his name is, and we'll just put him in different universes, and I'll just write one character, and those will be all the characters. So yeah, I have supporting cast characters, but it's all the same character.
Smart.
Yeah, so I liked that, and I thought it's an interesting way to approach a second book, and it's some heavy lifting that he did here and will need to do in the future, which is to differentiate them, right? So they all obviously come from the same place, but now like Viz and Rez is now split off from Viz and Obadiah and Viz and Lucium. So they're, you know, now they're all on their own paths in life. So they're all going to go through and evolve into different characters, even though they're the same person. So I'm excited to see how that goes, and we can talk about some potential theories later. But yeah, I feel like one of them's got to do like a heel turn. You know, is one Viz at the end gonna have to kill another one so that he's not synchronous anymore? You know, who knows? It's pretty wild, and I'm excited to see, because he did do a good job, I think, in this one of towards the end they were already grown and they were already different from when they started. So unfortunately with that comes a lack of creating more side characters. Now you have 3 different worlds that you have to run that have their own storylines. So we don't really get many supporting cast here. And, you know, we do get a new batch of spear wielding warriors in Lucium. You know, unfortunately outside of Terra, we really don't get much from them, and even her, like just a little. You know, it's just hard to do when you're juggling 2 other storylines in different worlds. Mm-hmm. So
let me ask you this. Would you rather stay in your current world but lose an arm, or go to another world but keep both arms?
Well, I don't even know I'm in that other world. What do you mean? Like, I'm good. What?
No, well, your consciousness right now.
And
lose an arm. You get your arm cut off because in Rez his arm's off, and in Obatim he has both arms.
No,
right?
no. He's got one arm in all of them.
Oh, I thought he was missing a right and then left, and then Obatim has both.
No, I don't think so. He definitely doesn't have it in Museum. That's for sure.
Yeah, because he gets the arm. He like picks up the arm. But I'm pretty sure he has both arms in Obatim. I don't know.
What? Let's see. Hold on a second. Does Viz have both arms in Obatium? Yes, the version AI says yes.
Because he doesn't really reference it at all in Obatium.
Yeah.
He's just like, then I picked something up. He does not like, you know. Anyways, like I said, he goes with the flow, so he might just be missing an arm. We don't even know. He's like, whatever, no big deal. Because he's like dancing. I feel like that'd be kind of a big thing. Being like, you have a one-armed dancer? What the fuck is this? And also people would definitely recognize him.
Oh, I think the internet's saying that Searoar gave this one of those like stones that prevents injuries. So when
it heals.
So like, because if something happens to you in one, I guess you like lose it in the other or something like that. So when this like pays the cost, quote unquote, to enter Lucium, which is his arm, it like trickles down to Rezviz, who loses his arm in Rez, but he doesn't in Obatium. I don't know. It's a good question. I didn't even know. I didn't even know he had both arms. That's why this book is a little weird, you know, in some ways. Didn't even know. I knew he didn't have it in Lucium. But yeah, so the question was, would I rather lose an arm in my current world that I live in, or have two arms in an unknown other world.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm going to lose an arm. Do I keep my family and I'm in this other world, but it's like set in Victorian era and there's no, adaptations to, there's no modern dentistry? Like, what are we talking
You go
about?
into the next world, you're in the Civil War, you get shot in the arm. God damn it.
Yeah, it's like one of the sliders or something like that. That old show. It's like you all of a sudden slide into the Jurassic era, and the question for me would really be which arm, because I play all.
Well, obviously it's your.
I play
for you,
sports with
different.
my left arm, and then I do all the normal.
What's
things.
your dominant hand, if you know what I mean? That's the most important question. Right?
It's my foot. Think about it.
Oh, feet. Yeah, you're good then.
Yeah.
But take both arms. I don't care.
Did you have any other stock ups?
Insults that keep you up at night, stock up. I'm calling Lyceum World 2. World 1 is the first world. World 2 is Lyceum. World 3 is Obitium. That's how I just
I would have pictured it differently, but okay, go.
Oh, well, you pictured it incorrectly then. But he's basically in the round two of schooling and all that stuff. So he's been forced into another school. I understand why he's like, bro, I have a normal life now. I'm, with a family. I still have one arm, but, at least I can just chill out. I don't have to worry about things. He's living the kind of like, just a farmer's life. But he gets to the school. They give him the name Leithfear, or I'm sure I'm butchering that. It's an Irish actually phrase, and he assumes it's because he's missing an arm, which is like kind of fucked up. It's a bit on the nose, but like, if you're in like Top Gun training, they give you a name that whatever, right? So it's not like that bad. That wouldn't hurt me. If someone called me like Cast with a Ghost, I'm like, yeah, I'm pale, whatever. I'm big. I don't give a shit. But I would not be able to handle when he finds out what the real meaning of it. It's just, oh, you have no heart. You just don't like give any effort. I was like, holy shit. Imagine just being cut down to the knees like that. Oh yeah, you're talented, you're good, but you just fucking, you don't have what it takes. Like Coach McGinty is rolling over in his grave right now thinking about this, from the placements, obviously.
That's the number one meanest thing you could say to somebody.
Being talented but not giving enough effort is literally the worst thing it could possibly be, right? Like, it's just, ugh. So anyways, I'm glad he was able to pick it back up and figure things out and get a new name, but yikes, that hurts.
Yeah, I almost think about it different than like, it's not effort. It's an interest in getting back up when you're knocked down.
Oh, I think those are kind of married.
They are, right? They are to a degree, but it's more for him. It's like, she's like, hey, Tara's like, your heart's like not into this. It's not that you wouldn't come and save your buddies here. Your soldier buddies.
Well, that's when they started to respect him when he did that.
Yeah, it's just
it's
just that you don't have. It's not your number one priority, and so yeah, he had to show that. My last one was Cadmos's tea.
Oh, same as mine.
Okay,
nice.
Cool. Yeah, glad we're on the same page here. Yeah, that shit's like morphine plus adrenaline, and has like a 2-day half-life or something. It just lives in your body forever.
He's breaking his legs, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'll just have some tea, though, so we're good. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, he gets straight up Vecna'd by whatever the guy's name is. Decimus or whatnot. Like, legs snapped off at the ankle, pretty much. Bent sideways. And he uses his metal contraption thing, his, Doc Ock situation, to support his legs. But you still have 2 presumably compound fractures in your legs plus all the other injuries, and he's like running through the city doing whatever the hell he wants, and just briefly every now and then being like, oh, doesn't feel great.
Yeah, he's like, luckily I had some tea this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not like if he had a thermos on him and they were like, hey, you better like go slow on that because you can have a heart attack and die from overdoing Cadmos's tea. But no, he just had like a couple sips that morning and he's good.
Well, I will say too, the reason again that this book was like way over my head is the dude that breaks his legs. I have no idea who that was. I have no idea what the backstory is, why he's a villain, what his motives are. I'm like, who is he?
He's one of the leaders. I guess he's not in military. He's like one of the other leaders in governance or religion or whatnot.
He hasn't been built up as a bad guy. So
yeah,
I'm like,
that's unfortunate is that he's pretty new. He's only in this book. It was the chariot race situation. I
didn't know who that guy
was
either.
That's the same guy.
It's the same person?
I think so.
All right, but I don't know what his deal was.
He wanted his son to be whatever the thing was at the end to win if you won the...
Dominator?
Yeah, Dominator. He wanted his son to be Dominator. And somehow he's blaming Vis for his daughter dying, or his daughter already died. And then because of all of this Civil War bullshit, his son dies too. And so now he's like blaming Vis for the whole thing. I agree. Not a good foil. Not like a great foil.
Yeah.
So they just like all of a sudden be at the jail like, haha, I have Aqua here. And he's like, oh, okay. And, it's like, who are you?
I'm like, you're really making this dude torture this dude for what reason again? I didn't get it. So the other thing I'll add about tea, and this is more just a thing, anytime I'm on like a video conference and I see someone drinking tea, I get so excited because I'm a big tea guy.
Huge tea guy.
And I'm like, hey, what kind of tea you drinking? And I've never seen anyone give a fuck less than whenever I ask people that. They're always like, I don't know, like black tea, like green tea. I'm like, oh yeah, totally. I'll go fuck myself. Snob? No, I just want to hear, because I've been trying, ever since I've worked from home, I like very much drink a tea every morning, if not two. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying all these different types of tea because like coffee, you kind of figure out, hey, what's the best coffee? How do I like it? There's like 100 variations. And I'm like, all right, let me find the best tea I like. And so I'm asking people, and people like do not give a fuck at all.
Are you loose leaf or bagged tea?
Bagged. My go-to right now is Yorkshire Gold, which is like what a lot of the British people drink, which is I think is fucking unreal. And it's super, super cheap.
Yeah.
You can buy like a box of 180 for like $10. I'm like, oh, this is the cheapest thing. But like, that's why I get excited about it, because I think I found a good tea and nobody gives a fuck. So give me some of this guy's other guy's tea.
Yorkshire Gold. It's like oolong for me. It's like, ooh, wow.
They're like, great, I'm drinking fucking English breakfast. You're like, let's get on with the meeting. I'm like, all right, sounds good. Anyways.
Whenever I think the world's going to shit, things like that make me feel good. The fact that tea, you can buy like 100 pounds of tea for $10.
Yeah.
Like,
and throw it in the water.
Like, we used to have taxes on this stuff. Like, it was a big deal,
Yeah.
It was a big deal. And now it's just, whatever. I can buy so much of it that I pour half of it out. Don't even care.
There's no other thing in the market where it's like, this is the premium item of this thing, and it's cheap. It's super cheap. Like, there's like, you think about, even if coffee, you're like, oh, I want Colombian or Costa Rican coffee. It's like, all right, well, we put Costa Rican on it, and now we're going to fucking...
Especially if you're trying to get like fair trade organic stuff.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. If you go to one of those actual like coffee shops too, they're like, not the chains. It's like, oh yeah, you want a cup of coffee? That's $12. Yeah. Perfect. It's like,
I think about it with sugar too. Like, you go to the store and I buy a giant bag of sugar for like $5. And like, the processing for this to be made and to be just available for me is so wild that I can just have as much of this as I want. I think about, I'm a big World War II fan, as you know, and I'm just thinking about people in World War II who are like rationing stuff, or
eggs.
All the
way with that book.
Yeah, there you go.
Just trying to get a couple eggs.
Yeah. People stuck in Russia. Just, if you have a cake, it's made out of shoe leather. It's wild. And I go to the store and I buy it for $5, and it lasts me forever. And I think about it. Actually, I think about when I go out to breakfast and stuff like that, when there's sugar packets there. And I'm like, I'm using a third of this sugar packet and I'm just throwing it away afterwards. It's just gone. And no one cares. And it's crazy how awesome that is to live in a world where we can do that.
Well, they should also have my invention, or my theory of that they should have caramel instead of like, ketchup, mustard, sugar packets, cream, caramel. I was thinking caramel.
Just a caramel sauce?
Dude. It's genius. Just don't question it.
You
put a little of that in your coffee?
Okay, in your coffee, sure. Yeah.
What are you not putting it on?
Pancakes, pretty good, for sure.
Oh, God, yeah.
Eggs? No, definitely not.
No, yeah, I mean, that does make a lot of sense. I mean, but that'd be like, whoa, would you put sugar packets on your eggs? It's like, no, obviously, but like, you could put it on a lot of stuff that you put the sugar on.
Yeah, anything you put sugar on, sure. You could put, I like it.
Thank you.
I'll get into stock down because you already fired one off.
Yeah.
My first stock down is agency. A lot of talk in the communities about, agency, like having agency. And
I got you.
Viz has none of it in Res. He's a total puppet of a character, and he's just going about doing the bidding of others. And I thought that was kind of going to change in this book, because in The Will of the Many, it was like either Alkiscor telling him what to do, or the headmaster or whatever trying to tell him what to do. He's like, oh, I didn't listen to him. It's like, okay, cool, bro. But like, it seems like he's just doing other people's bidding nonstop. And then you come into this book and he's doing the exact same thing. He's doing like whatever governance or tells him to do, he's doing it. Then Ostius comes in and he's
going with the flow.
I said, he's just following whatever Ostius says, even though Ostius like killed all of his friends at the Eutychium. Yeah, I feel like Viz didn't really grow a lot. Although at the end he makes a pretty presumably crazy decision in like taking over all of these Yunkti or whatever, who are now going to be his army or something. And it seemed like that was something that like Iden was like, dude, don't do this. This is messed up. But is he working for Ka now? I don't really know. Or is he now finally like making a decision for himself? Because he knew it all before he ended up seeing his like dead mom and dead sister and whatnot. So to assume this army of the dead is pretty interesting, I thought.
The stakes for that for me weren't. I just didn't understand the stakes as much. So I think it was interesting, but I'm just like, I don't get what this whole thing is. I don't understand why are all these dead people have been collected. I don't know.
Well, they said the Yunkti or whatever who Ka, or whatever, the guy who presented himself as Ka, he said that they had been collected over the last few, or like the last 100 years or so, and it wasn't for the purposes that the place or whatever had intended, which was like to fight against the concurrence. They had collected them as a way to kind of like fight against the other factions or something. Like it was basically like
is this some Order 66 type shit we're getting going here?
Yes, exactly. Okay. And I got some of that later, but yes, it's it's exactly that. So yeah, it's like now he's going to presumably be using them for their intended purpose, which is to fight the concurrence, but they also have the ability where like somehow through the will system, if they kill anyone, they can then turn them and they come back on their side. So it's basically like an zombies. Endless, like an endless zombie kind of. I mean, it's really like he's becoming the Night King from Game of Thrones, because it's like, all right, cool, you kill this whole army and then you just turn them all. So yeah, and they don't like Napoleon going into Russia. You know, it's because you can't feed them, so you're screwed. But these guys are Yunkti, so they don't eat, they don't sleep. I don't think they sleep, but they don't need anything. They don't bleed. Like, this is great.
And he gets to see his family again.
Yeah, and presumably Calidus, right? I guess that's a lingering question, but the last sentence is like, "Hey, old friend," or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, I assume that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay, I thought so too. Yeah. I wonder how they all got. Like, how did they all get there though? Like, so someone's just like his family was killed in Seuss, so someone took their bodies on a boat, brought them back over to Catan, and then found this place and shoved them in this hole. Like, I didn't really get it. What about stock down?
Yeah, last one, chariot racing stock down. We already touched on it a little bit here. I'm not sure this stock's ever traded or very often.
What? Ben-Hur? It hasn't been traded in millennia, potentially.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't really get chariot racing. It sounds like you want just big crashes done to horses
Gladiator?
dying.
Didn't you like the chariot? I mean, it's great. It's not a race. It was.
I mean, I don't understand the whole the concept. Now, if we're talking pod racing, aka now this is pod racing, which would be a great name for a podcast, by the way. But that's another story. Now that would be a stock up, because that always is. But anyway, in this book, and you might have to clear this up for me, but this wins the competition right at school. He then goes and like proves that he's as strong as anyone with one arm. So he gets Dominator, and then this dude from like an 80s bully shows up. I don't know who this guy is. We already talked about it. He's like, "Oh yeah? Well, you're not the real Dominator because you can't win a chariot race." And he's like, "No, I can. All right, well, prove it, sucker." And I'm like, "Wait, what? What's going on?" And so the stakes are, you lose, someone else gets Dominator. You win, you stay Dominator, which is what you've already earned. I was like, what the fuck is he racing this for?
Recognized by Decimus or whatever.
No, just say no. Didn't make any sense, and then he still wins, and then they don't give him the top position, right? They give it to someone else, did they? I was like, what was the whole point of this whole series or scene here?
It was very much the Aspen episode of South Park, Stan Darsh situation.
I was going to say, the skiing. The skiing.
It's like, oh, you think you can ski? It's like, what?
Yeah.
No, I didn't want to. All right, fine. Meet me at 5:00. Yeah, it was the whole. I'm with you. It was on my hate the chariot race thing. It didn't make any sense. We haven't even heard about chariot races or even like horsemanship being a thing in here, and then all of a sudden they're in an arena for their tests that involve chariots, that like there are chariots there. So they're like, okay, cool. Just like get the horses out and let's do chariot races, which are super dangerous. And like people could have died right there. And the stakes didn't make any sense. Mostly it just seemed like a way to introduce this bad guy character that's going to eventually like pop Iqua's head. It made no sense. And there's so much other stuff going on with this book. And like we talked about with supporting characters and so much other of the stuff could have been, I would have given that time to just give me exposition to be like, hey, we're going to take a break from the book and we're just going to give you exposition about what we've learned about this world so far. Yeah, and I would have loved it. The chariot thing, made no sense.
I also don't know there's stuff in Roman. I remember in the first book I talked about this too. I'm like, they just randomly are like, Dominus, what? Like, then they don't ever say it again in the rest of the book. Is this Red Rising? Why are there Roman terms? Like, Red Rising's the whole theme is, Roman stuff. This one just throws it in, like, sprinkles, like, chariot racing. So it didn't really make a ton of sense to me. Yeah. Apparently, like, I looked up, it's supposed to be each planet or each thing is like, this is Rome, this one's Egypt, this one's some other empire. I was like, oh, I guess. Is that supposed to be known?
Oh, so, like, Obatium's Egypt and...
Yeah. Well, what's the other one? Lucaseum is Celtic Tricycle symbol, so I assume it's
as a
Ireland or
it's Celtic. As someone who is
sorry,
you should know this.
I guess that's where the Dalygon name comes from. That's definitely an Irish name.
Deglin.
And they're speaking Gaelic.
Yeah, I worked on Viking or Gaelic, so yeah. My last stock down is people online stock down. Everyone seems to like Will them anymore, like I talked about. There's just a lot of hate on the internet because I was going through Reddit because now I was a little bit interested in the theories. I was like, okay, where do people think this thing's going? Especially because we're presumably not going to get a book for a long time and I just finished reading it. So, I spent a little time digging down the rabbit hole. And interestingly, there's a lot of hate on the Obatium and Lucium storylines. People, like I said, they just wanted to get back to Rez, which Rez is kind of like a political drama and not in a fun Dune way. It's more of a confusing, I don't care way.
Well, they keep on jumping around in time on Rez, too. It's not linear. It's just like, all right, and now I'm, like I said, he's like Batman in it all of a sudden. You're like, what? Like, they didn't explain why he started doing that.
I mean, I guess I'll burn a hate too, but it's one of my hates, the whole time thing. I have no idea how much time is passing in this book. So he gets hurt when he kills all the leaders of military, like all the decadons or whatever they're called, the head people, and he's injured. He goes back to Casa Telemus or whatever the case is, and then someone's knocking at his door because they're hunting for the guy who killed him, and they're like, yeah, he killed all these people like a week ago. I was like, wait, 1 page ago he just did this, so it's been a week or whatever the case is. Time was very confusing. I had no idea how long he was in Lucium.
I think that instance is he killed the thing that happened. That was a week ago, and then now he's out there being Batman, doing different things, starting up riots and whatever, doing all that stuff. And he just got back from his most recent mission. That's what I read it as. Just started doing that all the time now, and then he just was out on a very, very specific mission recently.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, that would make more sense because he was so wounded. Like, he was wounded and whatnot. He's bleeding.
I don't think he got wounded when he would, because Diago just attacked all of them and killed them, and then that was that, I thought, right?
Okay,
you don't think he got injured from that?
Yeah, but then even with Lucium, he was with that family, but it wasn't clear like how long he was with that family. Presumably he was there for a while because he got, he healed up and had a nice relationship with them. But I have no idea. It didn't, and I don't need it to be like, the SpongeBob, like 2 days later or whatever the thing is. I don't need that, but give me something here because we're jumping in 3 different worlds and time's moving the same, I guess, but how is it moving? I didn't know. But back to my my stock down on people online. I don't know why they think so much cool stuff's happening in Rez because it's not. And Obatium, it's a desolate post-apocalyptic wasteland with flying dead people that have blades for hands. Like, that's pretty cool, right? That's got to be interesting to some people. Like, the Gleaners themselves is like, holy shit. Like, that's cool. Lucium is some sort of, you said Celtic, I said Viking or Gaelic fantasy realm. There's Druid, child soldiers, the good kind of child soldiers, not the bad kind. And unknown magical elements. It seems like Will there is much more magical than cut and dry. I mean, it's definitely not cut and dry in the other two, for sure not. But
No.
it's more like has ethereal elements as opposed to physical ones that you can clearly define. I don't know. I found both of those storylines to be interesting, and I didn't just want to be in Res. So that was my take.
Yeah, I would rank Lucium 1, and then Rez and Obatium both to me. I was very confused. I thought Obatium's the picture they painted of that was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just imagined that as like this desolate temples and pyramids and things. I was like, oh shit, that's a really cool idea.
Duat.
Like they really did
Yeah.
separate the three of them really well. But yeah, I had no idea what was going on in Obatium other than that.
Yeah, Obatium also, it seems like a totally weird place because there's pretty much just two sets of people. There's the Yunkti, who are the dead people, and then there's like the Karar or the Qatar or whatever the case is, who are supposedly the not dead people, which is like the girl that he met that was farming and whatnot over there. So there's two types of people. There's either the dead people or the not dead people, and all the dead people are working for Ka plus the Gleaners. And obviously we got like Netocret too. But yeah, I'm not saying I loved Obatium by any means. I was definitely, Lucium was my number one. But I thought it was almost as good as Rez. And it just also happens to be the one place where Siror, who does most of the exposition of what the will elements are and how he's there, happens in Obatium. So that's why that was helpful, because whenever we went there, I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm going to learn something about the, actual elements of these worlds. Favorite scene or storyline?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just burned it, but I was going to say World 2, aka Lucium, was, I think, the best. I also thought it was nice. There was like some cathartic moments with his dad. The ending duel was really great. I didn't really get the whole journey to like prove himself thing with like all the
statues when he gets his arm.
Statue coming to life, and then he's like taking control of them, and then they like granted him an arm. Comes out of that, and he's gets kidnapped. I was like, what's going on?
I think it's like it's like some walkabout slash what's that thing that Native Americans do when they find their spirit animal? They go out.
Oh, they did that in in the 300, right, or whatever. Those people did it too. They would be like, you got to go off and
the Spartans
kill a bird or whatever.
Yeah.
Kill an animal and come back, and you can't until you do that.
Yeah, so it's like I think it was kind of like one of those things where it was like a test.
Okay,
a
everyone's journey's
test,
different.
And presumably this is where a lot of these warriors would get their magical weapons or something, because but everyone's journey is totally different, but whatever happened to Viz here that the druid saw, whatever his name was completely off crazy, like off the reservation from what off the reservation. I shouldn't say that when I'm also talking about the Native American. but it was totally different, like way different than anything else that happened to everyone. And obviously he gets his arm out of it, which is a whole another story, but most people are taking a staff or a thing out of there and he cuts off one of their arms. But he's obviously able to use the will much differently than anyone else because he's synchronous. You like the dad stuff. I was like, oh cool, it's his dad. Like that's weird, but also all right. And then
I thought it was nice.
Yeah, you get to see his dad. They talk shop. Yeah, his dad gave him that it's not your fault, which was awesome. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
So gosh, also his argument was so terrible, but it worked out. Viz's of being like, I made the mistake the first time of not going back. It's like, Viz, you were a child. If you went back, they were going to slaughter you. Like, what are you talking about? You made the right decision. He's like, I'm not going to make that mistake again. It's like, okay, cool, don't. Like, what? That's not, what are you talking about? For me, favorite scene, I don't know, Diago ripping the throats out of the heads of military, which kicks off a civil war. That was pretty cool because it was unexpected. Knew Diago was there. Obviously, Ostius is an interesting character. I need to know more about him. I'm excited for that for future books because, he travels through the Wood for Worlds, which is like, how does he do that? We have no idea, but he's able to do that. Presumably that means that Viz would be able to do it too, like on his own, not just like with Ostius as a guide. But yeah, I thought that scene was cool because it obviously kicked off the Civil War in Rez, and then he's like legitimately ripping the throats out of these people. And Viz also deals with however much will, like more will than anyone has ever done, pretty much, and he can do anything at that point physically with how the will works in Rez. Viz, I really liked Viz becoming Neo in Lucium, which is when he's fighting Tara and she's beating the shit out of him, and all of a sudden he feels the will take over. It is the end scene of
He
the
still
Matrix.
loses, though.
Yes,
doesn't
he loses, but it's legitimately the end scene where now he's like using his spear, but he's like, I don't even feel it as anything besides an extension of my body, and he sees Tara like start to get freaked out. It pretty much was that scene. Or, not to be confused with, Viz becomes the Winter Soldier in Lyceum and beats Golkovar at the end, which is also in my top 3, because all of a sudden he's got this silver arm and people are like, what the hell? And he's Neo and the Winter Soldier at the same time. So yeah, I might go with that one. I like that one. Because also, fuck Golkovar. Now that's a bad guy. That's a foil.
Yeah, I agree. That was he was built up well, at least.
Yeah. Stabbing people in the... Anytime someone gets stabbed in the stomach with a spear in a violent manner in a movie or anything, it's like, that's fucked up. I don't like that person.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What about best character? We got like Amos, who we haven't even talked about. He's in Obitium. He's the Yunkti that is like Vis's friend / right-hand man. Decimus, the head popper. Terra, Golkovar, Netocret, Ostius. You could pick Gleaners if you wanted to. I don't know. Those are just a couple that I thought for new people.
Yeah, I had a tough time with this one. I think I'm going with Diego, though.
Oh,
okay. Just ripping throats out. His protector, his direwolf, I guess. But, like, I remember in Game of Thrones, the direwolves just disappeared all of a sudden. It had nothing to do with anything in the story. I don't know if that happened in the book.
No, actually in the book, Arya's direwolf is, like, almost has her own storyline. Like, she's out out in the woods. It's, like, through Arya's dreams, I think, Nymeria. But she's, like, out in the woods, basically creating a wolf army that she's at the head at. So presumably that whole thing that happened when they fight the Night King in Winterfell would also include a giant army of wolves led by Nymeria. But I don't know. That's conjecture. Yeah, I think Diago's a good answer. I got to go with Cadmos, my guy, the tea maker, Cadmos.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember his name. I kept on calling him Alfred in my mind.
Well, it's funny because in my head, it's the same thing. I said he was giving off Alfred vibes from Batman.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Master Viz, like, welcome home. And he's like,
here's some tea for your bandage, for your arm.
Bandaging him up, healing him, and then giving him the tea and covering for him. And he knows Viz's secrets, but also doesn't, you know what I mean? Doesn't ask. He's just a good Alfred character. Yeah, I had to go with Cadmos for me. What about loves? What'd you love about the Strength of the Few?
I mean, I think it's similar to the last one. It was just super impressive. I think I said it was like ambitious, the last pod. I heard that's all the reviews about. Like, oh, he really took a swing on this one, and I commend that because he did really create 3 distinct worlds. He's like somehow combining all of them in some ways, and there's all these different. No, it's not enough that I created a system of will. I'm gonna do systems of will across 3 different unique
the will
planets.
Acts differently in 3 different places.
It's just high level fantasy. There's no other way to put it. It's just like intense. I don't know how you ever think of this type of stuff, fantasy. So super, super impressive for that. And then I still love me some Viz. I mean, to your point, hey, you know what we should do? Just split him 3 times because he's a great character. It's like, yeah, it makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm good with that. But yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I like the 3 worlds. I thought they were so distinct. I think he did a good job of transitioning nicely between them. I always knew where I was. Granted, it's obviously like different chapters, but sometimes a chapter would continue with the current world we're in, but other times it would jump and he wouldn't say, hey, we're in Lyceum. It was like through the interaction or the people, obviously, you would know. And they just had such distinct features and the things that were going, not only just like the will was different, but the whole purpose was different. Like in Lyceum, he's kind of doing the training thing again, but he's also, with this family, he's just trying to like not necessarily get involved with the politics or whatnot. He's just trying to live, but he gets pulled into it with the druids and whatnot. Well, I guess the other thing is when he splits, that was interesting to me, was just his knowledge of what the situation was. In Lyceum, he has no idea that he exists elsewhere. He goes to Lyceum. He's like, oh, I guess I just got here. I'm in this new world. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, he thinks he took a boat.
Yeah.
He doesn't think he's in a new world. He's like, oh, I just took a boat to another part of the country that no one knows about.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
he doesn't even know what the situation was. In Rez, he doesn't really even know that he's synchronous until about halfway through when he goes back to Salavargas and learns it. But he just thinks like some crazy stuff happened. And only in Obitium does he know that, one, he's synchronous, and two, that he has to kill Ka. Like, that's what he knows from that point.
Yeah.
So his goal in Obitium is, okay, I got to go kill Ka. How am I going to do that? His goal in Res is like to get in the political thing and climb his way up so that he can do something or another. And in Lucium, he's just like living, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I liked it so much. It was like each one had different goals and objectives.
Makes sense.
I thought Aqua's death was, shall I say, mind-blowing. You know, when you're at
blew your head off, or no?
when you're at the hands of an enemy, it's not a good time to lose one's head. It's not the way to get ahead in life. It's a shame she wasn't more headstrong.
Wow, you really remember those. That's impressive.
She'll never be the head of a pyramid now. Austin Powers, you. It's honestly the first thing I thought about when he popped her head. I was like, oh, she's never going to get in ahead in life. So yeah, I thought, but in actuality, was not expecting it. Granted, we didn't really build her up too much, but it was unfortunate. I did feel, the other thing I loved was I felt like we got a lot more exposition in this book, which, you know, what is actually going on. We learn about synchronism. We learn a little bit about how will works, or at least we learned a bit about it. You know, they even say like, oh, adoption. Adoption is to see other people's will and use it or take it, you know, like, oh, now I know that that's a thing. The concurrence, that it was a bad guy, I guess. we still don't really know what the concurrence is.
It's very Mistborn-esque.
Exactly. Well, I was literally about to say that Ka sounds a lot like whoever the leader was, the bad guy in the
first one.
Mistborn.
Where they kill him and he's like, I was holding off the
I think that's the
real bad
second
guy.
one. I think that's the Well of Ascension.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah, it's like he's the bad guy, but he's like, I was actually trying to keep everyone alive. Even though all the stuff I'm doing seems terrible, I'm actually helping because there's this worse thing behind me. So like Ka's not the Ka is doing what are the cataclysms? So like there's cataclysms every 200 years that are killing a bunch of people or whatever. Like Ka's doing that, but he's doing it to hold back the concurrence is what he's saying. So interesting. We'll find more about that. You know, why they killed Viz's family. You know, they found this weapon and it's the same one that like Esteban used at the Naumachia. So like stuff like that, we actually learn like what's going on. So I like that. And I also like the Yunkai or whatever. We had seen a little bit about them on Salavargas in the pyramid and didn't know what the hell was going on there. They just didn't have eyes or something like that. But Jedef is the one we end up meeting early on in this one. And they're dead. They don't eat, sleep, breathe, or age. And they operate off the will of the person that brought them back. Pretty simple. So, and now Viz has an entire army of them. So we'll see how that works out if he becomes the Night King or not. What about hates? Strength of the few.
Yeah, I think I've kind of covered all of them. I mean, really, I think it's just I'm not smart enough for this book, unfortunately. This is what, when I said it's like Dune to you on the first one, you were like, what? And I was like, yeah, there's too much going on. And then you times it by 3, you know, it's just,
yeah.
This little brain of mine is not really coped for this. I think you need to be locked in on fantasy to get into this. I think you just need to be fucking ready to go.
Yeah, I disagree totally. This is way more complicated than Dune because Dune is Dune is a.
I think Dune is much more
harder to read
writing
because the writing is like collegiate level writing or something like that. But
right.
Yeah, Dune. Once you understand the powers at play and what they're doing, which is pretty much spice, then okay, now I know there's houses. You know, they either want spice or have spice, and they're trying to hold spice or trying to buy spice. Once you start including magical elements, you know, which happens here, and like the Bene Gesserit stuff in Dune doesn't count because those are like more mystical than magical. Yeah, once you start including a whole will system, it's kind of the same with Mistborn. It was a lot confusing at the beginning because there's so many different types of metals, and some push, some pull, some strong, some weak. You know, there's, you know, exponential ways that can work. So yeah, I think this is actually more complicated. But I agree. I mean, keeping track of the various will powers and how they vary by world, I thought was not a great not a great thing. I did love the metal imbuing he does in Res with that like suit he created. That was pretty cool, but I agree with you that it's definitely hard to follow for sure.
Yeah.
Chariot Race talks about, and then I guess the different factions in Lucium were kind of hard for me. I didn't know who was with who. It's like, oh, there's King Rohan and this guy, and I'm fighting with Fedorius, and I'm like, who are these people? Like, what? I know there's a druid sect, but outside of that, I don't know who's with who. Besides, Galkavar's bad, so didn't really get that part. What about lingering questions? Do you have any?
Where do I start? I think I've asked a lot of them during the app here. I think, but the biggest stuff was really Obatium. I think Res was pretty straightforward. It was just I wasn't really super bought in to there's like a big revolution. Like usually I love political revolutions and civil wars and like we're fighting for this, but I just wasn't bought in. I was like, all right, I don't know what the stakes are. I don't really know why I should care
you don't
about
care
this.
which side wins or whatever they can.
He had to convince Eden to come fight with him, and I'm like, I don't even know what they're talking about, like what the context of this is. He's like, I gotta fight for this faction. I was like, yeah, but you haven't really set up the factions, so I don't know why you should care. It's just the whole conversation's there. I kind of just was like, all right, like let me know when we get to the next thing. Lucium, I think, was like could be its own book, so I thought that was good. And then, but Obatium was just like when he started cutting himself and like fucking disintegrating people, I was like, what?
Yeah,
and he walked through
he
some
gets
door.
the flail, and it's such an Egyptian thing. It's a flail and crook, basically like what you see them.
But what did he get those powers from? He walked through a door. I didn't get that.
He went into some hall and found there was a flail and crook, but he had to like bleed on it to get them, and then he got them.
All right, I missed that completely. I was like, all I know is like the next time that they see him, he's like, and explosion on the hand. He just became like who's the guy in X-Men that could like shoot stuff from his hands and shit like that. Or I don't know, maybe those are robots that did that. But either way, he just became that person. And I was like, what's going on? Like that one just was much more complicated. Res I just didn't care as much about, and then Lucium at least I was like, all right, I can get down with this at least.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to say that through our conversation, I feel like we find Obatium to be the worst / most complicated, just because we didn't talk about it a ton. Like at the
how did the end? What happened at the end?
He finds Ka, or what we think is Ka, like a sleeping Ka on a table or something, and he's gonna kill him, or it wasn't very clear. Like something was going on there. Maybe that's not even Ka. I was like, where's Searoar? The whole second half of the Obatium thing, but I guess he went off. Searoar says in Obatium that Ka's been there thousands of years. He's got all the Yunkti under his control, and like he must be the because of that, like he's the concurrence. But in Res, Ka says he's against the concurrence. So we're not exactly sure who's the bad guy. There's a lot of theories out there that Searoar is the bad guy, potentially in Obatium and elsewhere. He might also be synchronous, like his, because they said in Res they found his body, but it was all mangled. So maybe that wasn't his body, and Searoar still exists in Res, and we know he exists in Lucium, or at least he says he is, because he identifies himself at the end as Ruark or whatnot, the druid. So there's theories out there that he is synchronous, and that even if not, that Searoar is controlling the non-Yunkti people, that like he is, like they are, the non-Yunkti people are also dead, and he's controlling them because they don't, like it's hard to tell who's dead and who's not. And there's also potential that if Searoar is alive in Res, that who's the blind girl? Lucia or Lucia, whatever.
Yeah,
Lannistia. That Lannistia is his Yunkti in Res.
Oh my god.
Because she does that whole thing.
I read the books. Imagine if you hadn't read this books and someone listened to this pod, they'd be like, what the fuck are they talking
about? Oh my god. Oh, it's so true. Or nerding out so hard and not in like, oh my god, this is crazy, but yes, a little bit, no, this is crazy. But yeah, if someone was just like, hey, let me listen to this podcast.
Everyone's Star Wars was like mind-blowing. It was like, they have this thing called the Force. It was like, come on, bro, slow down. You gotta explain that to me a little bit more.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I'm reading, at the same time, I'm reading Two Towers, and good god. Like, it's straightforward because it's a story, but if you want, that's the thing I like about Two Towers or the Lord of the Rings in general, is like you can just read it as a story and you're like, oh, okay, I get everything. But if you want to, like anything someone
says,
it's like
a Wikipedia page,
you
click
could
on something and be like, all right, now there's this whole thing. You
could deep dive into the next thing. It's like, oh, the Ents are talking about the Entwives. You could just go into that whole thing, but you don't have to. This one is like they're just throwing it all at you and seeing what sticks. So Keith, The Strength of the Few. Who is it for is kind of not fair because it's for anyone that read The Will of the Many and wants to continue. So I'm not even going to ask you that. But what do you give it out of 5? What do you give it?
So my last one was 4.25, and you were 3. I'm going 3 this time. I think, again, it's just you were like, I can't wait for the third one. If we get to a third one, I'm gonna have to. I literally will have to take a college course on this, on what's happening. He doesn't give you any sort of. Oh yeah, you remember in the first book when I talked? There's none of that. There's zero of that. I think if you like this book, 100% understand. If you're with me and you're somewhat of a idiot, then I also understand why you wouldn't like it. What about you? I give it 3.
Yeah, I'm not clamoring for book 3. I think I will read it, which is
okay.
Which is more than we've done a lot of stuff
safe for
here,
most books. Yeah.
So, granted, there's a bunch of series we've done that I would like to go back and actually read, primarily 2. I think the one with what's his name fought Nine Fingers.
Joe Abercrombie. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
I actually downloaded the second book at one point when we were in a low, or we were I had finished a book earlier and I never got to it. But yeah,
the Nine Fingers one, and then the other one with the warrior that could go into the death zone or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The African one?
Yeah, that one was sick. I'm not clamoring for it, but I will read it. I give it a 3.75, which I think is really good. That's for me. I don't know how these numbers work on Goodreads, because 4 or 5, that means it's the best book. The only thing I'm giving 4 or 5 and up is literally Lord of the Rings when it comes to fantasy.
Should basically be you have 5 stars, you're not allowed to give any more than that.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? You're once you hit that amount, then you're done. Everything else should be, you can get 104 stars, you get 103 stars, and then you have unlimited 1 and 2 stars. But that's you got to get limit. So if you want to, that'd be good too, because damn, this book's so good. Do I want to put it?
Yeah. Do I want to
up
give
to the
it?
4
and
star
you can
ranking,
move it,
or
you
do I
can
want to give
shift
it to the 5 star? Yeah, but you can't. Yeah, you can shift this, but you got to knock the other things out, because then it'll be actually a fair system, because it's all right, well, I can't just be throwing out 5 stars no tomorrow here.
Yeah. Or there's 3 worlds and you just got unlimited 5 stars in all the other worlds kind of thing.
9 worlds of book 3, kid. I'm in if it happens.
All right, well, that was fun. That was The Strength of the Few. And Keith, can you remind us what we have coming up next?
The Searcher by Tana French coming up next. Listener recommendations, so we'll get to that here soon.
Yeah, and now I am actually excited to get out of Fantasy Realm. I need to be grounded. So
I like it.
Yeah, I'm here for it. All right, Keith. Well, good talking to you, and I'll catch you for The Searcher. All right.
Indeed.
Bye now.
Bye now.